Welcome to blisteringly hot Arizona, where the average daytime temperature in July is about 110. I don't know what that is in centigrade, but it's hot. I just wanted to say I love you all. I love you deeply. I care for you deeply. I care for your welfare, for your livelihood. And I care for you getting to know God, the divine within yourself. That's my primary function, but I also care for you on the mundane level, where many of you are falling apart because of the energies. When I was with Robert for 8 years, I was almost totally dysfunctional for 6 of them. When I was with him, on the days that I was with him for lunch, when I went home, I had to go to sleep for 3 hours because I couldn't do anything else. When I was with Janet, loving Janet with all my heart, surrendering to her, and the Shakti was arising in me for the first time in 30 years. Both she and I were dysfunctional. She was working at a job and struggling to keep it. But we both felt the Shakti so strongly. We both felt the love for each other so strongly, the need to be in each other's presence so strongly, that it was hard for either of us to function. I had an easy job. I just wrote psychiatric rebuttals, but it was very hard to shift from feeling the Shaktis and the openness of the energies and the subtleties of the energies coursing through various parts of my body, and the strong sexual energies that coursed through me when I was thinking of Janet or being with Janet. But it was very hard to function, to make that switch from loving and lusting to dictating a psychiatric report. So I know what some of you are going through, very much so. Now, I guess it's been my mission recently to bring sex back into spiritual discussion and the spiritual processes. Part of it is because most gurus are afraid to touch the subject, because sex in the guru, or even sex within the Sangha between Sangha mates, is frowned upon as sexual abuse and is criticized. It's been going on for 40 years now, the denigration and the hatred towards gurus and their sex with their students, if they do have sex with their students. They've made it like gurus are psychologists with a professional code that one cannot sleep with your clients or with a physician, the physician's oath and the physician's code. But gurus are not physicians. They are not psychotherapists. They are vessels of love and of God. Their whole intent is to bring God to you, to realization of God. Of course, some like Robert don't have that as a goal. They want to take you even beyond God. But I've argued that finding God, finding the divine within should be your primary mission. It's so much easier to discover than the void that Robert talks about and wants you to reside in utter peace. He wants you to ignore the world, ignore your body, ignore your feelings, just like all of Buddhism does. Watch it and then ignore it. Instead, I want to bring you to life, fully to life, fully to possessing and feeling every part of your body, especially the stuff you've rejected because of society. And some of my friends, my close guru friends, have been almost stoned because of sexual scandals in their sanghas, like Shankarananda, my dear, dear friend, Swami Shankarananda, and Chaitananda, my dear friend, Swami Chaitananda. So it's time to talk frankly about it. It's time to talk frankly about love and sex between each other in non-guru roles, and between the guru and students, or between gurus. Open the subject up. Don't hide it anymore. Don't criticize it as soon as sex is mentioned in the spiritual post. We have to be open. Now, most of my teachers before me have been closed. The idea is to hide information because you're open to criticism as soon as something comes out in the public place. If you talk about something in the public place, you can be criticized. And it's bad for the Sangha to be under criticism. But this is a kind of suppression, and it can't be tolerated anymore. This is a modern society. We see what suppression has done to this country. There's so much hidden evil in the United States, hidden under society, under political correctness, and it's kept in the shadows until Trump comes along and releases that evil and makes it commonplace, normalizes it, and the evil comes out into the open and is taking over the country. But it's always been here, it's just been hidden. So let's talk about sex and love in the same way. Hide nothing anymore. We talk about the function of love and sex. We talk about the morality that people want to enforce on us from the outside. This must be a special day. Angela combed her hair. Kind of a shock. So, as I've been writing, sex is with us all the time. Who doesn't feel sexual impulses inside of themselves? Who doesn't feel sometimes love for a cat, for another person? And with other people, the love is often mixed with sexual visualizations, sexual feelings, sexual ideation. We imagine having sex with that person and what it would be like. And when we do that, our sexual center is stimulated, the second chakra. And when we love somebody at a distance and feel sexual towards them, we also have the heart chakra that is resonating. And the energy passes between the second chakra and the heart chakra, between the pussy or dick and the heart. There's a flow of energy upwards from the sexual center into the heart, and later on it explodes upwards into the brain, hurting the brain in some cases, overwhelming the brain in some cases. And then it learns how to shoot through the top of your skull into chakras above the body. So let's talk about sex. There are many chakras in the body, many centers within the body, and they vary between people, where the energy flows through, is concentrated, is sublimated, is purified, is stretched, is compressed. I feel them in my hands, chakras. I feel them in my rectum too. But I've never heard of anybody talking about a rectum chakra. Many people that come here when I get to know them, they come to satsang, tell me they've loved me for years, and I never knew about it. They never said anything. Dia said she's loved me for 11 years, probably 2 or 3 years before she ever contacted me. Then she was poor and didn't have $1 to her name and couldn't come to America to be with me. But after she had money, she came twice a year from Scotland to be with me for weeks at a time. Janet came to me frequently too. She lived 2,000 miles away. And we never had sex. We never had sex. We just felt love and we felt sexual impulses. We thought about sex. We wanted to ravage each other in sex. We wanted to marry each other, to be together always, to love always. And I lost my heart completely to both of them. Janet first in 2010 to about 2012, then Dia. Janet awakened the life force in me, pulled me out of the void, the dead void that I had been in for 15 years after awakening under Robert to the void. Then Dia came and loved me and gave me so much power in the Shakti. I've never known anyone that had more power of Shakti in them than Dia. And since Dia, I've been able to transmit Shakti to you guys more than ever before, if you're open to receive it. Right now, the energies are moving so powerfully through me. It's hard for me even to talk. The love I feel is so extraordinary, it's hard to express it. My arms feel like they're 1,000-volt power lines, almost paralyzed by the energy that flows through them. And I'm projecting it outwards to Vijay to try to get him to feel it. He's wanted this for years, to be able to feel the Shakti. He's wanted it for longer than that, since he was a child, to feel the Shakti, to feel the energies within. I send it to Padma. I send it to Max and Spencer and Ken and Mark and Enrique. I love Enrique. He is such a joy. When he was here, he was asking me that question too, about his own sexual impulses. And with his students, what should he do with sex and love? Do you act out? Do you use it to light the fires in another person? What are the policies, so to speak, of heart and sex used to awaken Shakti? But together, sex and love can explode the Shakti in you. Sindria, my love. So, many of you have loved me from afar before you approach me and tell me you love me. And that's the other way has been around for me too, for many years. But now all that I require and I almost demand is openness about everything. Hide nothing. Don't hide your love. Don't hide your anger. Don't hide your disappointment. Don't hide your fear. Don't hide even your blame or your hatred. Let these feelings arise in you. Let you feel them fully in your heart, and make use of the energy in those emotions to inflame the Shakti inside of you even more. Sindri was a master of being inflamed by Shakti over the years. And then something happened, and they've been coalesced, unified to a degree. She was torn by fires for years of the energies, blasted, tormented, burned through a very intense sadhana. The same is happening now with Angela, an extremely intense sadhana of love, lust, fear, terror, actually. What's going to happen to me? I feel helpless. I feel frustrated. I feel dysfunctional. When Max was here, we were all dysfunctional. For several weeks, we couldn't do anything except lie around and maybe go to a restaurant, maybe chanting, maybe reading a spiritual book, or just being with each other in silence, or being out in the golf course, fooling around. We even talked about ourselves as being special needs SATSANG, where everybody had to be taken care of because we were so dysfunctional. Matter of fact, the only one that was functional was Karima, because she wasn't part of our group. She was working. So we depended on her to figure out what to do. Amongst ourselves, we didn't want to do anything except be in each other's fellowship, in each other's spiritual holding. A human being is quite complex. There are so many things that go on in each of you. Not only love and lust, which is almost always there in all of us. You see an attractive person and you feel lust, or maybe you feel love, or you feel taken. But that there are other fears. The fear of attachment, the fear of being devoured by the other in a relationship or disappearing in the other, losing one's individuality in the other. Then there are all the emotions we feel: anger, hatred, greed, jealousy. I love jealousy. Jealousy is the closest thing to an orgasm that you can have, I think. It's so strong and grabs you so completely. And then there's our body. Our body's feeling from the inside, the spiritual part of us, of feeling the body from the inside, feeling our sex organs, feeling the anus, feeling our bowels inside, the movement of feces inside, the pressure on our bladder caused by urination, the need to urinate. Maybe gas in our belly from eating, feeling our diaphragm moving up and down, ribs moving in and out with our breath, the breath passing through our nose, down the throat, our lips and our tongues as we talk, the throat chakra as we try to formulate something to say, the light of consciousness which originates in the third eye, between our eyes and above and inside. The crashing of Shakti into our brain, filling the brain with energy and trying to rip through the top of the skull to the other chakras above. We are so complex with so many feelings, but we only feel them when we learn how to shut the fuck up. When the mind is brought under control. When the mind no longer controls us and instead We become feeling beings, not thinking beings, feeling beings. And we lose our minds because we go deeper into our body sensations, into the spirit inside, where we feel and feel and feel and live in our heart and our gut rather than in our head and mind and insight. Most of us are heady people. We think, we plan, we have an imagination about what we want. We have large tables of concepts about what we think should be and what we want in life. Don't we, Vesselina? Have heads full of concepts about what should be, what can be, what will make us happy or sad, stupid or prideful. We have so many concepts. But once you fall in love, or once you learn how to drop into your heart, and then into your gut, and then into your pussy or your dick and your balls, is ecstasy. Because you're out of the mind and relaxed in the body. When you can be totally relaxed in your body, the amount of energies you can feel becomes endless. You're no longer in this world. You are no longer in the mundane world of rearing children, going to work, paying rent. All of that goes on. But that's not where your mind is. That's not where your heart is. That's not where your spirit is. Your spirit is dwelling close to God, ever closer to the divine within. Ever closer to the divine within, the life force, which keeps pushing at your heart, pushing the energies into your heart, into your gut, into your mind, into your brain, purifying the brain, destroying all those concepts of what you thought you wanted, learning how to be in the now with no time, no future, no past, no memories, no speculations about what will be. And this all comes about through the power of Shakti. The Shakti on the outside, which is arranging everything in the world, including the advent of Donald Trump and his bringing forth evil to be exposed to the light. But the energies inside of you, which are purifying you to make a home in your soul for God, for the life force, so you can surrender to God. Angela has felt God in her strongly and just desires to remain in God all day long. And she struggles to have this happen and relaxes so it can happen. And when she does this, the energies burn even more strongly, making her even more dysfunctional. The same goes for Vesselina. And to a degree, this has gone on for Max for the entire time I've known him. This has gone on with Sindria for many, many years. Years of being out in the open with her feelings and years of disappearing. But even Sindria, who's been torn apart more thoroughly than anyone I've ever known by these energies, she's making it through it. And she's becoming quite deep, quite insightful, and quite powerful in those energies. Now, if two people loved each other in the way Janet and I loved each other, with total worship, total love, where we feel so much love that the breath is leaving our body and we have no breath in our desire to be with the other one. When we hear each other's voice, we just want to drop to the ground and swoon in the love we feel and the lust we feel. When we love each other so much that the self disappears and grace descends from God and wipes us clean of imperfections, wipes us clean of all fear, of all other desires except to be with each other. And then God comes and touches us both in exactly the same way, even though we were 2,000 miles apart. I questioned her as to what her experience was, and it was the same as mine. We both felt we were in front of God on a large throne. We were both at his feet, surrendering and loving, being just his puppet, his toy, to do with whatever he wanted. Our own desires were gone except to be surrendered at his feet, and she and I to be surrendered to each other. We just wanted to lie flat and to have God walk on us and crush us flat and get rid of the last particle of personality, of individuality. We just wanted to be completely empty to do his work, to be the footstool for God. And we both worshiped him that way, and we worshiped each other too as vessels of God. And this is what you should want. The ability and the opportunity to surrender completely to God. To surrender completely to another. To love another completely. So completely you only think about that person. You don't even think about yourself except when you're in a desperate situation. Like a tiger being on the bus with you, and how the hell do you get off without getting eaten? Because you're already being eaten in a divine relationship, a triangle of another human being who you love, yourself, and God. The life divine, the energies within. Use that love. I was so shocked that through this love of a woman, of Janet, that I would become self-realized. Janet had this ability to be incredibly angry over the slightest little thing and would break off our relationship. And my love object, which was her, would disappear for 3 days, 5 days, a week. And during that time of longing for her, to be with her, for her to come back, longing so intently, there was a purification process going on. Loving her so completely that I became love itself, both when I was with her and when I was thinking about her and longing for her. So completely that I became love. That was my identity. I was love. And for a week, I dwelled in love. And because of this love I became, the life force within me was delighted, as Nisargadatta said, and revealed itself to me in a blast of enormous energy, slowly arising from my gut like a volcano, slowly erupting as the magma comes to the surface and reaches my heart and explodes in my heart upwards into my brain. And a light of 1,000 suns was there along with it, white light, and this incredible power that was in me. And there was so much power that I never felt before, that I knew this couldn't be me, it had to be God. God was showing himself to me, in me. At that time, I didn't think of the Shakti as being feminine, but as being masculine. else, why would this energy love women so much through me? If the energy were feminine in me, why would I be loving women? Why would I be loving Janet? And I would assume it'd be the opposite for women. They would have the divine feminine in them. The life force divides into male and female in their bodies. It manifests differently. Women are very different from men. Men very different from women. The Shakti is different in both. And I'm attracted to the Shakti in women. Not so much Shakti in men. I never felt the Shakti in Muktananda. I don't feel it in David Spiro, although others do, but I can feel it in women. I can feel the energies in women. I can love the energies in women. I can bow to the energies in women. It's the male aspect of the life force bowing to the female aspect. Now, as to physical sex, I never had, except on two occasions with the same person, actual physical sex, for the last 32 years, maybe 33 years I haven't had sex. And the sex I'm talking about is all in our minds. It's figurative. It's virtual. And in that sense, it's more pure than actual physical sex. It's a direct spiritual manifestation of Shakti over distance and through time. It's a direct feeling of love and lust in our bodies for the others that burns us and purifies us and makes us whole and gives us closeness to God until finally God manifests himself or herself in us. Now, I often say I love you all, and I mean it. We are a spiritual family. Sindria has been here a long time. Max for a long time. Enrique for a long time. Walker for a long time. And Leopold now has a Nikki. Michael has been here a long time. We are a family. If you don't feel it, you're missing out. So, actual physical sex is not necessary and may be even undesirable, because I don't think that actual physical sex can be as intense as remote sex, where you feel the orgasms when you hear my voice, and I feel the energies when you have orgasms. When we communicate about Shakti and our love for each other, when we tell the world about how Shakti manifests through you, how you yearn and burn for her presence or his presence, how it puts you in ecstasies. And some are lucky enough to have full body orgasms. Others have orgasms confined to the genitals. Some feel it only in their hearts. But there's nothing like the totality of full body orgasms going on and off for most of a day, getting more and more intense as the relationship between us deepens. And that could be a relationship between each other, within the Sangha, practice on each other. We're all opening to love. The orgasms are Shakti's way of tricking you into loving her, because we're all knowledgeable about sex and what sex does to us and does to our body and affects us, makes us happy and joyful. So it throws in sex with the heart and makes them come together, that they're linked. You can start by having a sexual relationship with someone, but eventually the heart is pulled in. And also is pulled in is your mind as you become addicted to the other person. You feel like you're a prisoner of love. You feel like you're hypnotized with love. When I was with Dia the last time she was here, I felt she had cast a spell on me. The love was so strong between us. The energy was so strong between us, and the energy grew bright, dark, red, and it was absolutely still in unity. The power was overwhelming. I've never felt power like that. And it's this I want you all to have, if you want it. I know Michael wants it, but he's so much in his head. He's very smart, and he wants to do everything through his brain and planning and organizing and thinking and strategies, which is absolutely the wrong way. Are there any questions?
Hello, hello, Ed. How are you?
Hi.
It's not so much question as usual, clarification and confirmation I seek. So I feel like almost everything you talk about, I'm living right now after many decades of struggle, and I feel like I'm there. I'm at the destination as far as it makes sense for me to be there, that I'm living from that place. And when I relax into the Shakti state or the non-dual state, it feels like I'm awakening from a trance, which seemingly confined me to my body, mind, and now I'm waking up into my real self, which is a boundless energy field which surrounds me and is much larger than me. And it has my flavor to it, but it's boundless. So it's like if my body, mind is like 1%, this is like 1,000,000% me. It's so dense, and it's composed of bliss particles, and the bliss particles can be very, very subtle, but the bliss extends. The depth of the extension of the bliss is unmistakable, and it feels like this is this is my big brother, this real me that has been eluding me my whole life, that has only come in partially in places and has been confounding me. And now finally I'm in love with my real self, which it's taken me a long time to get there.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Not only particles of bliss, but you feel rivers of bliss that move these particles along too, that move like the mighty Mississippi moving through your body.
Yes, like waterfalls, torrents of bliss comes through as well. Not right now, but plenty of times it does. Right now, it's just like at night in the forest or by the ocean, and the bliss extends, the subtlety of it, but the depth, the flavor of it has such extension. It's like it goes forever. All these particles, I don't know how to express it, but I think
it's an inexhaustible supply of bliss as soon as you get in touch with your root.
As the more I align with it, the more it exposes itself.
Yeah.
And the more there is, and there's infinite amount.
Yes.
And it's the antidote.
Yes.
To that which I was been seeking. And
yes.
It's available to me, pretty much always.
Yes.
I just need to make the effort at times.
I'm so sorry for you. Really, I'm just kidding. Mark, I love you a lot.
Thank you.
I love you so much.
Too. And I'm also getting better at articulating it as it's becoming more.
Sure. Yes, you are.
Clear to me, and is more stable.
Yes, you are.
So thank you very much again, Ed.
No, you're welcome. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Angela, I need you to talk to me and tell people what you're going through. Angela is at a very intense part of her sadhana. She's very dysfunctional. She's out of money. She's going to be kicked out of her job in the house where she lives in 2 weeks. And she's totally, totally frightened about what's going to happen to her, because all that she wants is unity with God and realization of God and feeling God within herself. So she's become so dysfunctional, she doesn't know what's going to happen to her, like a baby that's sucking at a mother's tit. There's nothing but bliss now, but what's going to happen if the mother leaves? And that's what's happening to Angela now. And she needs encouragement and help from everybody here as she goes through this. Angela, speak to us. Tell us about your fear. Tell us about the horror you face. Please, feel free. This is your family, your real family, not the one that you live with.
I don't know what to say. It's like I'm losing everything. I don't have any control. I even feel like I'm losing my beloved. And I have to function in the world really soon, for the first time since maybe 7 years. And I don't have a fucking clue how to do it, how to merge into the human world and be open to people all day and do practical things. But I will be out of money within a month, and I have to look for a job, but I don't even know how to type a letter. I've been feeling very mundane for weeks and feeling that I've lost the energies, and I've been feeling I lost my awakening experience for a long time.
Can you move your camera down a little so you can see your whole face? Yeah, that's good.
Like this?
Yeah.
But it comes and goes. The energies come and go, and I've been feeling very mundane for weeks and feeling that I lost my whole spiritual journey, my awakening, and everything that I've been going through with Ed for the last 7 months or so, that we've been working together intensely. And now, within my terror of losing my life, that I chose to lose, but the unsafety in it, the more I break down from not eating and not sleeping and being frightened, the more the energies come back. And I just feel that I want to surrender to God. That's all I want. but there's so much hurt within and so much fear.
I want you to know her father is tossing her out of her house after 7 years and has been paying her to be a nanny to take care of her 2 younger brothers. But now he's tossing her out and saying she's going to be homeless on the streets and ending up dead. So he has been total lack of support in a very kind of crude and angry way. And it's a crushing kind of energy to be surrounded by.
Well, I quit my task myself because it made me very unhappy, but I was incapable already for a long time to create a new life, a road to a new life, because all I was dedicated to was being with Ed and feeling the energies. So this is it.
I'd like to put feelers out there for other people to feel free to talk to Angela Rosenmalen on Facebook. Talk to her, speak to her. If you can offer any support of any sort, a job, a place to stay, wherever you are, whatever. She's our family. And I'm just putting it out there. That's what we're for each other. Thank you, Angela. Anybody else? Veselina, do you want to say anything?
Yes, I can say something. It's very strange to look at my face so close, but when I heard about Angela, it really breaks my heart for her. But after I read what she has written, that you posted on Facebook, I think she's very brave and that she's getting through it. I don't know. It's just how I see her, that she is going to get through. I don't know. She's making it right now, I think. And also I have the similar situation. The only difference is that I kind of blame my parents for most of the bad choices in my life, and that's why they kind of feel guilty to let go of me. So I will just do it before they become too frustrated with me. And I also have to find a job, and actually tomorrow I will go. And I'm not sure how I will work also. But I don't know, we will see. But I always think that, I don't know, maybe destruction is not so bad thing.
Very good. By the way, Veselina comes from Plovdiv, Bulgaria, which is the same town that Janet came from. It's a remarkable kind of coincidence. What's it like in Bulgaria?
It's different from America, very much, very different. It looks like a typical country from the broken Soviet Union, and they all look the same, like Poland, Czech Republic probably not so much, but yeah, Ukraine. Ukraine, I don't know, Russia. But it's beautiful. It's nice. People are nice. People are probably spiritual in their own way. And yeah.
Something else people should know here. As soon as Veselina heard about Angela's situation, she was so taken by it that she offered for Angela to live with her in her city, where she has a large apartment, and would really appreciate having a roommate because she doesn't like living alone.
Yeah, it's like this.
I just like it as the show of caring you have for other people in our Sangha.
Well, I really feel her. I just I probably don't know exactly what it is, but I felt this also. I wanted to run away from home a few times, but I actually have a different home, so it's not really a running away because I just live simultaneously on two places. But I didn't want it to create such a disturbance because I knew I will come back after 2 weeks or something, or even smaller amount of time. So I didn't do it. But I really know what it is to your parents to be to not understand what you're going through.
Not only to, in Angela's case, not to understand, but to be actively aggressive in terms of their non-acceptance of it and criticism and warning she's going to end up in the gutter.
Yeah, the same thing. My parents, I studied. I actually can continue my studies, but I chose to not continue them right now, probably after some time. And they said to me that I have to find a job so I can learn that studying in the university is a better choice for me. So they say to me, find a job so you can suffer there and then go back to study. And I just said to them that the only reason that I don't study, that I quit my studies, is that if I have to be able to do it, I have to study 8 to 10 hours a day, and I can do it. So.
How much could you study right now if you had to study?
I don't know.
15 minutes? 20
Yeah,
minutes?
half an hour. No, I actually, when I try to study, I just don't put any effort and any attention.
Yes, we know the feeling well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For opening up. I love this. People are opening up better than before. Anyone else?
Hey, Ajay, it's Andrea.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. I'm not feeling very verbal at the moment, so sometimes it's hard to put anything into words. And I very much empathize with, and have for a long time, with Angela and with Veselina. I have been through a number of times through the problems of an everyday world life, how to make money. I don't feel like I'm a great success story at that to inspire you. And I can't say that there won't be more suffering and more fear and lots of unknown. But that's where you find God. That's where the divine is. It's not in bliss, it's not in sex, it's not in ecstasy, it's not in depression. It's all of those places. And it's very easy to become attached to both the bottom and the top of these things, you know, the ecstasy and the depression, that is where you feel crushed and left, the dark night and the, you know, the brightest of light. You know, but life happens through all of it, and it will continue to.
Thank you, Cindria.
I can only say that the last time I had to move 4 years ago. I just want to say one more thing, Eddie. And I was living in a Zen Center intentional community, and had to leave there. I'd never lived alone. I've been a hippie all my life and lived in all kinds of communal relationships and marriage and things. And but the positive thing for me that happened was that through my dysfunction at that time, the fact that I really was going to get kicked out pushed me to, in all humility, ask for help from friends. Realize that there are people in my life at that time living right around me who loved me and who did help me and offer help. That's the one thing, is you never know where help is coming from, because it's not up to us. That's the thing, is, you know, I think the universe does this to us to show that we have control of nothing. We're awareness in this world being zipped along through the play of Layla, and all you can do is try to find what the universe is giving you. So I wish I could say it more eloquently, but it's like I feel you, and my heart is with all of you, and whatever struggles you're going through or whatever ecstasies you're having. You know, it's all a part of it, but don't become attached to how things are, because it is always changing, and
Yeah,
it will.
it certainly is. Thank you, Cindria. Angela, I hope you heard that about accepting help from friends. Did you hear that? Friends and accepting help, being open to help, rather than doing it yourself, all by yourself in your own volition and being under your control. Accepting help. Angela, did you hear that? Okay. I love you all. Is there anybody else that has anything to say? Going on a long time. I was just wondering if anybody wants to say something.
Yes, Ed.
Who's that?
It's Michael T.
Hi, Michael.
Hi. Sorry, Angela, my heart and thoughts are out for you. I got a question, Ed. When we all have these great burdens happen in life, and often to adapt, to fix a lot of these things, it takes the mind away from where we're supposed to be at in terms of maximizing it, meditation, and the things that we do.
You know, I'm having a very hard time understanding you, hearing you.
Oh, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, and maybe get more to the point, because I'm just having a hard time hearing you.
Okay. Are these tests that we're supposed to go through, and are we supposed to surrender to them or adapt to them, or both?
Both. You have to be flexible. Things are always changing. A few things may appear to be under your control, and they're not. A few things may appear to be out of your control, but they're not. So you have to be flexible in an ability to surrender to the events that you have no control over, and to develop your personal will to be able to accomplish what you need in order to get through the day. That's what Angela is going through right now too, as well as Vesselina and probably most of us. I know Max is also struggling with his career choices and his desires to pursue 15 other things, like martial arts and spirituality and God realization and energies and how to raise cactuses and marijuana and do drugs. He's got a complicated life. And he's in Austria, which is not the friendliest of all possible places to do anything. But yes, it's a test, but it's not as if God sets up these tests to test us out and to develop us. It's really, he doesn't give a fuck. It's just that it's all a matter of chance, and things are thrown at us and we survive or we don't survive, and we can call on Shakti to help us. Yes, you can do that. You can call on the life force, especially if you can feel the life force in you, because when you feel the life force in you, generally it's in a positive direction. It helps you, but then it'll set you right on your ass again when you're at the height of your power, at the height of your fame, the height of your working out your potential. It'll set you down again and make you humble. There's no easy solution. There's no easy understanding of it. It's all a mystery. We make up concepts to try to think we're in control, but shit, we're not in control. Anybody else?
Hello, Ed, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm a friend of Walker's, and that's how I heard about the satsang. And I've been living with the Kundalini quite strongly for I think the first time I felt the energy whoosh through the central column, I must have been in elementary school, and feeling this shape around the head floating. And then at 18, I started having these dreams that come from my native side, from my grandfather, who was a medicine man. And I have to say, yeah, it's just been one lesson in humility since then. You know, I've had times of being a lot more functional. I just turned 53, and that's more just to give perspective. And
where do you live?
Well, I just came to Sedona from Maui. I was in Maui for a while, trying to find a place close to the land. I had a very intense energetic opening where I lost a lot of weight. I dropped down to 99 pounds, and it was just too hot and root and red in Sedona. So the universe in its wisdom arranged an invitation to Maui, which is moist and green and kapha. But yeah, I'm a little bit on the verge of a crisis myself. I'm actually considering to go into a monastery. I've had a career in San Francisco. I've made money. I had fancy friends and raised a wonderful son who's on his own now. And so I've been able to really focus more on the path. You know, again, the age of like, it's now. And
can you tell me what you do? What's your profession?
Graphic designer. But, you know, working at a computer and all the technical stuff that you have to know, it's just, at times it's been prohibitive. And so the last 7 years, it's been a lot of things. My intention was not to tell a story, but my intention was really just to share with the people who are going through it very intensively that I do understand. And what you said, Ed, about receiving and being in humility, it's like I just started crying inside, because I realize that's got to be the greatest lesson of this, is that you can't do it on your own. You have to open your heart You have to be vulnerable. You have to receive help. And sometimes you have to ask for help, even when you feel completely humiliated, because this culture, the whole emphasis of this culture is like self-responsibility. I just wrote a letter yesterday to someone I'd been studying with, a teacher, and I don't know what he's going to write to me because I don't have money to go to retreat across the country. I just don't. And honestly, I feel like spirituality has become too much of a marketplace in America. And so I'm very grateful that you just open yourself, Ed.
I'm 120 miles away from you.
I know. That's part of why I reached out. I'm like, maybe that's why I didn't land in Maui. You know, I tried to land there.
You know, what I feel from you is a lot of witchy powers. You can have a lot of mastery over healing, performing miracles, and doing stuff with Shakti, including lighting other people up.
Yeah, I sense that.
There.
And I've been terrified of it. And I'm just now, it's like what Angela and Vasilina, like so what everybody's saying is there's this brutal interface between we desire only to give ourselves to it, but as we do, it consumes us, and the world doesn't get it.
I know.
And I honestly don't know what to do about that, Ed. You know, like, that's so my only thing right now is like maybe I can find a monastery somewhere where I can just really give myself, and hopefully it'll just fulfill what it's trying to do.
I have always wanted to have an ashram, but it's never happened. I have 2 houses here in northern Phoenix area, and I had hoped to start a monastery here. But this is Arizona, and it sucks in Arizona.
It's so hot.
It sucks less in Sedona because of the temperament and society up there of spiritual people. David Spiro is up there. Bentino is up there. A lot of other spiritual teachers up there. So it's halfway livable, but it's such a small town, it won't support you. Yes. Unless you are working in a restaurant or in a bookstore or something like that. If you're lucky, you can get to work at the supermarket there. What is it, Safeway?
But there's no more rentals. You know, that's the thing too, is with Airbnb and being in a beautiful tourist place, there's nowhere to rent. You know, even if you can scrape together the money from your tourist job to get a little room in a house that may or may not be energetically compatible. I mean, I've been through every facet of this. Like Walker and I have talked about this endlessly. Do we get out of America where the economic differential is a little more favorable? I don't know.
Yeah. Stay here. Stay close.
Okay.
At least for the time being.
Thank you. Thank you for seeing me.
You're welcome so much. One last sharing. Does anybody want to share?
I do, Ed.
Good. Hi.
I just wanted to share, actually, even though my heart is with Angela, I'm not sorry about what's happening to her. I think it's great news in the sense that I'm going to stop there. I'm going to share a story about myself then. It was not until I was pushed and pushed enough, and when it came down to a really bad situation where I was forced to be humble enough to ask for money, actually from my father, and to actually be humble enough to say to my family, hey, my spiritual path, what I'm doing is not working, and I don't have money, and I need money to raise my children, to pay for my children's education. It was not until then that I was humble enough to make such a failure statement of, I failed. This sucks and I failed. And when I did that, that was a year ago, actually. Everything changed really quickly. Everything started to flow. So I know if any of us I know what's going to happen if any of us has that level of humility where we actually, are humble enough to fail all the way, all the way down. In my case, that's what it took. And I strongly feel that's what it will take for most people. So in that sense, is that I'm, can't find the right word, but in that sense, that I know what's going to happen to Angela if she's pushed to that level of humility. And just saying what you just said, Ed, about Angela not accepting people, help or asking for help. That to me is like I can put the puzzle together. What's going on there? And so I'm just praying. The way for me right now to pray for Angela would be, hey God, give her just a little bit more of a downward push and pull, so she'll be humble enough to ask for help and to ask for and to be in such a humble situation where she really has to break down and let go. So I hope you get that, Angela, with all my heart. I know you will. It's just a matter of how far you want to stretch the waiting period.
Oh, that was wonderful, Enrique.
Yeah, thank you.
It was unbelievable. That was so good. Now, Angela, where are you? Angela, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Accept help. This has been, I think, one of the best satsangs I've ever been to, bar none. The openness of the people inside of it, the Shakti I felt, talking about what I felt. It was hot. It was hot. Next time, I think in another week, not this coming week, but the week after that, I'm going to start having another satsang on Wednesdays in the morning from 11:30 to 12:30, 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 in the afternoon. And maybe we'll do less talking and more about sitting with the energies or doing formed meditation on the energies, doing body scans or something like that, rather than talking discursively and theoretically like I do here, and maybe with less sharing, but just energy work. Think about it. David Spiro does a satsang on Wednesdays from 10:30 to 11:30, and I wanted Wednesdays. I was thinking about doing Tuesdays or Thursdays, but Wednesdays are best for me in terms of timing, and I don't want to interfere with his satsang. So I'm doing it after his is over. I love you all. I hope you can feel that. And I hope you love me. Let's just keep loving each other and feeling the energies. I'll see you next week at the same time, same place. Hello, Walker. I didn't see you there for a minute. Goodbye. I love you. I love you. I love you. Bye, Ken. Hi, Michael, Albert, Tonita, Padma, Vijay, Sindria, Sukai, Michael, Alex, Kim, and Sushil. Goodbye.